Okay, y'all, let's learn how to print. So now that we've set up the printer and the software, we need files in order to print. We need 3D files. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out here at Tinkercad, which is a really good, very easy to use CAD software that lives in the browser, so you don't have to download anything. I've been messing around with some fun stuff for my kids and for myself. Let's look at this one here. This is a logo ring that I built that is sized to go around my 30-ounce Yeti tumbler. Since the vinyl print stuff always peels off after about 5 minutes, I've decided let's try this out. And if it fits right, then I'll glue it on there and it'll be awesome. Okay, so my kid goes to Eagle Mountain. So I've got EME Eagles dash EMSISD, and the inner diameter is 4 inches, which should fit the outside diameter of the cup. So it should work. We're gonna find out though. That's kind of the fun part of this, is that you can experiment with this stuff and it doesn't really cost you anything more than the amount of time it takes for the printer to run. So we've got our 3D object here. We need to export it so that we can send it to the printer. So we're going to export. We have set up the software to recognize these STL files, so we're going to choose STL, and I am running in Chrome, so it dumps it down here in the bottom. So I'm going to right click and show in folder. This way I can move it out of the way. I've been doing this, practicing this before, so it's got this one here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to drop it into, that was a right click cut, into a folder where I know where to look for it. Okay, so this way it's not hidden in that download place. So I'm going to replace the one I was doing before. So that was just a Control V to paste it in here. Now I'm done with that. I can close that up. And when you go to the Cura software, so here we are in the Cura software. This is one I was playing with before. You can see the dimensions are a lot bigger. It actually sticks up beyond the top of the print field, and it just doesn't fit. It's too big for the printer. So I'm going to highlight that, hit delete, and it's gone. I'm going to load the new one in. So I can hit load, and I can go over here to what I just replaced and click open. All right, so now it's a little bit smaller. See how I shrunk those letters up compared to the other one? Now, laid out like this, it is beyond the print area, right? So we need to change it up. So I'm going to click it. I'm going to hit rotate. And when you hit rotate, it gives you these spheres. So you can change the orientation of the piece like this, right? And I want it to stand up on end so that it will fit inside the print bed. So there we go. It fits inside the print bed. It does this little like save thing, but it's not really saving, so not real sure why the software does it that way, but it does it anyway. Now, we've got some options. All these other quality fill, speed and temp, filament, and machine stuff, you can play around with these, but it's set up pretty good the way it is right now. And if you start playing around with those, then you're going to run into issues where you're going to find failures. So you might find that you make it even better of a print, but you're also going to more likely than not end up screwing up the print if you mess with those numbers too much, but it doesn't really hurt anything to try. So if you feel like it, go ahead and try. So support type. This will this sets the software up so that it will create scaffolding that doesn't exist in the actual file itself. So you're not going to see anything change here. If I was select this with touching the build plate, it doesn't actually change anything here, but you can see how it's processing it up here. What it does is it creates that scaffolding. We don't necessarily need it in this. I don't know. Well, we can find out because of the way this build goes. You can do touching the build plate, which would be just under the object itself, but not this other stuff up here. Wouldn't have any support. If you did everywhere, then it would be under the object and inside the object to support this center section here. Of course, you're talking about it's going to add some time. Oh, the other thing to keep in mind is that these time estimates, these print estimates for this version of Cura are wildly inaccurate. It, it says 5 hours and 5 minutes. It might take that long. It might take significantly shorter. It might take significantly longer. We don't, it's just ignore that because it's not right. Okay, and then you have the platform adhesion type. I would definitely want to do something because this item here is only touching the bed in this very small area right here, and it's going to be the printer. It's going to have a lot of pressure on it out here on the sides when it's printing, and it could very easily push this down and snap the adhesion to the bed, and it's going to like wiggle off of the bed, and then you're just going to end up with a big, looks like cotton candy, but it's just plastic wire all over the place. It'll be a hot mess. So you can do a brim or you can do a raft. I'm actually going to do this as a raft. So the reason I'm doing a raft, a raft is a larger, thicker base underneath it, and because I'm doing the face of this particular letter out here on the actual base here, it can look kind of gross looking coming off of the bed. But if the raft is there, the raft is going to take up all of like the gross proportions of that plate where it's been scraped and gouged and all that. It's going to be in the raft, and then the letters, which are sitting on top of the raft, will be clean. So it's better for this when you have your face of the item being on the outside there. It's going to be better for that. So we've got support type everywhere and platform adhesion as a raft. And you can change, you can look at the layers here. This is what it's going to look like. This is pretty neat. So the I don't know what this color is. I don't know. I'm a dude. This is a hard one. Is it green? Is it blue? I don't know. Teal? I have no idea. This color here, this is the supports that it's going to print, and then the red is the actual item that it's going to print. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And what you can do here is you can zip through here and see each one of the passes that it's going to make as it builds the item. And what we'll do, it's going to build just like this, and it's going to be super cool to watch. What we're going to do is we are going to then cut all of this teal stuff away with a knife and the clippers as we go. Now, is it 100% necessary to do this? I don't know. Maybe the printer will be able to do it just fine, and you won't have any sagging or breaking or grossness up here in the top part. But this top part in here really bothers me as far as how it's going to look, and if it throws out of proportion, then it's not going to fit right on the cup. So I'm going to leave this in here, and it's going to take what's going to seem like forever, but I think it's going to be a benefit. And you can see how it gives support under the ends. So when the printer's pushing down here to print, it's not that pressure is going to be transferred directly into the print bed, and it's not going to put pressure here in the center section where it's connected. So let's go for it. So the next thing we need to do is save the toolpath, because we don't send directly from the Cura to the printer. So we need to save this as a G code. Now, G code file is what the printer uses to print. So we're going to save this someplace that is easy to find. Go back here to my 3D files and save. Okay, so now that file is saved. We are done with Cura. We can close Cura now. Okay. What we need now is the Mod T software. Scroll down to the IMS, Mod T, open up Mod T, printer utility. And we already updated the firmware before. We've loaded the filament. You've done all that kind of stuff. It's all set up and ready to go. So we're going to print the G code file. And I put it in here. Yeti ring. Okay, So while this is sending the file to the Yeti, let me get this out of the way, and I'll turn it a little to show you. While that is happening, the button down here is flashing, and once it sends all of that over, it's taking a while, but once it's done, we are going to hit the button and it'll start printing. Okay, so it's uploaded into the machine. It says down here, press button to start printing. So I'm gonna push the button, and now we are both rocking.